Hi everybody, I hope you're well. In today's video I'm going to compare the original MagBox to the new MagBox Pro 24 Octa and show you what the differences are. So let's crack on. If you're a subscriber to my channel, you may have seen this video that I did a couple of weeks ago with my friend Nina, in which I used for the first time the all-new MagBox Pro 42 Octa, and I love the results. But alongside that launch, MagMod have also released an all-new MagBox Pro 24, which is the same size as the original MagBox, and I've already had lots of questions asking about what the difference is between the original version and the new version. So in this video, I'm just going to literally set them both up and show you what the differences are. So first of all, I'm going to set up the original MagBox, which is the MagBox 24 Octa. So I've already got set up here, as you'll see, two light stands with a mag shoe and a mag ring attached. And as you saw here, the great thing about the MagBox and the new version, all of the MagBoxes, is just how easy they are to put up. So let's just take it out of the bag, press it down, and that's done. And that just clips onto, using magnets, the mag ring, really simply. The other great thing about the MagBox is that we can apply gels in them if we want to. So let's just put this full CTO gel in. We can either put it in like this, or there is a handy hole at the bottom here, and you'll see how easy it is to just pop them in there. So that's in, and then we zip that up. Now the original MagBox had these yellow magnets on the side, and that means that to attach the diffusion panel, we would literally just attach the yellow to the yellow, like this, and that just attaches. So that would be how we set up the original. So we're now going to do the same with the new MagBox Pro 24 Octa. Again, just to show you how easy it is, we just pick that up, press the MagBox inside itself like that, and then we just clip it onto the mag ring. Just like that, and we're good. This time, the diffusion panel is no longer attached to magnets like this. It's up here, which is really cool. So it's all one unit. And then we just zip this round. So even though the original MagBox was really well designed and it didn't take very long at all to put the diffusion panel on, this is even quicker. And I love the fact that it's all in one unit now, because it's if you're anything like me, you might end up losing something like this. So that's really, really good. The other advantage, which you won't really get from the video, is that the material on the side of the MagBox is slightly different. It's a little bit of a lighter but stronger material. So the overall MagBox is a little bit lighter, not really enough that you'd really tell, but it is slightly lighter. Let's just take off the diffusion panel, because this is where another change was. This here is the focus diffuser, which came with the original MagBox. So let's just pop this on here. This focus diffuser would focus the light slightly and give you a nice contrasty look. It was very popular, it worked really well. So the new MagBox does not have this anymore. What MagMod have done is replace it with a grid. What I love about this, because it's all magnets, it takes seconds to attach. So that's the other key difference. The focus diffuser has gone and it's been replaced by the grid. Okay, and just as with the original MagBox, we can put filters into the new MagBox as well, using exactly the same thing. So we've got this zip at the bottom, put on here, and it literally just snaps on. It takes literally that amount of time, which is really, really cool. So the MagBox, as you see, is exactly the same size. The new MagBox will also fit onto the old mag ring, so that's really good as well. Now MagMod do advise that you use the new mag shoe. The new mag shoe, the mag shoe 2, is slightly stronger, just to take a little bit more weight. I'm not sure if that's really as important for this one, but certainly for the 42 Octa, you definitely want to be using the mag shoe 2 rather than the old one, because of the extra size and weight. So the main difference is, again, just to recap, is that the diffusion diffusion panel is all in one, which I think is brilliant, and that is a huge advantage. The focus diffuser is now no longer part of the MagBox, and we've got this grid instead, the magnetic grid. They're the main differences, obviously, alongside the fact that the material is slightly different as well. Oh, one other thing, and this is something you may not be aware of. If you own the original MagBox, if we take the grid off, although we could probably leave it on, you can actually use the old focus diffuser on the new MagBox Pro. So if you're in love with this and you don't want to let it go, you can still use it if you have it with the original MagBox. So what we're now going to do is do a comparison test of shots where we use the original MagBox with the new one, and on the new one I'll apply the grid, the magnetic grid, and on the old one I'll put the focus diffuser on, and we'll just see what the results are. So I've now set up the original MagBox with the beautiful Nina over here in the long grass, hoping that there's no midges this time. The last time we did a shoot together we had loads of bikes, so fingers crossed that's not going to be the same this time. So yeah, this is the original MagBox with the focus diffuser on the front. I'm going to put in an AD200 into the mag ring, and let's just see what we get here. I'm on my Sony A9 with my Sony 85mm 1.8 lens. I go from f4.5 to f3.2. That's gorgeous. And last one. Perfect, Nina, thank you very much. So what I'm now going to do is Nina's going to send me exactly the same place. I'm going to do a straight swap between the original MagBox, which is what we've just been using, and the new MagBox Pro 24 with the grid already attached. Let's just pop this on. Now I'm imagining, I literally haven't done this before, that I'm going to lose quite a bit of the flash power just because of the grid, but at the same time I think the grid's going to focus the light much better. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Stunning. It appears at first glance, as I suspected, as though the new MagBox Pro 24 with the magnetic grid attached controls the light a little bit better, just that spill is a little bit less, but it also just takes away some of the flash power as well. And just so I can make a proper comparison and be fair, rather than me looking at the back of my screen on the camera here when I'm literally out in the field, I'm going to pass you over to me and we'll have a proper look and we'll compare the two.
In a few moments I'm going to show you the difference between the two MagBoxes on indoor shots, because that is very interesting. But first let's look at the shots of Nina. This shot was taken on the original MagBox with the focus diffuser. Now firstly, I should apologise because I almost overexposed this shot in camera. Not good. Thankfully I didn't, but I was close. This is the straight out of camera JPEG and this is the edited version. Let's now compare this straight out of camera shot from the original MagBox with this straight out of camera shot from the new MagBox Pro 24. Remember, the MagBox Pro 24 shot is using the diffusion panel with the new magnetic grid. Now, as I mentioned in the video, the obvious things which we can see from this comparison is that the grid does take away some of the flash power. The settings for both of these shots are exactly the same and they were taken literally seconds apart. Now, it may be tempting to think that losing flash power is a bad thing, but that wouldn't be taken into account the huge advantage that the grid is actually giving us over the diffusion panel, and that is the control of the light. Now, just before I show you an even clearer example of this, let's first compare this shot of me with the original MagBox and the fabric diffuser with this shot of me with the new MagBox Pro 24 with the integrated fabric diffuser. Not surprisingly, they are exactly the same. But, and this is where it gets really interesting, when we compare the original MagBox with the focus diffuser with the new MagBox with the fabric diffuser and the magnetic grid, the difference is huge. Using the grid is reducing the perceived flash power but it is doing an incredible job at controlling the light so much better, because just look at how much less spill we have in this version. This means that if you're using the MagBox indoors, especially in cluttered spaces where we don't want the light spilling everywhere and hitting other things in the room, the new MagBox with the grid is going to be amazing. Even when I turn the speed light up from 132 power to 116, just so that I could get the same exposure on my face, the magnetic grid is still controlling the spill far better than either the fabric diffuser or the focus diffuser. So my rough rule is going to be that if I'm outside using the MagBox, I'll generally just use the fabric diffuser. But when I'm using the MagBox indoors, I'm going to use the grid all the time, just because of how well it's controlling the spill of the light. So in conclusion, is the new MagBox worth investing in? Well, in my opinion, if you want fantastic light from a large light source, which you can control really well indoors, then the MagBox Pro 24 with the magnetic grid is the answer. So yes. In fact, the bigger question is going to be whether you choose the MagBox Pro 24 or the MagBox Pro 42, because the larger the light source, the softer the light. So by definition, the 42-inch is going to give you softer light, and the light from the 42 is but it's much bigger. So the decision is very much going to depend on you and how you work. Now, if you're still on the fence, I'm going to link above to my dedicated reviews of both the MagBox Pro 24 and the MagBox Pro 42. Is it worth upgrading to the new MagBox Pro 24 if you already have the original MagBox? That is a much harder question to answer. The integrated fabric diffuser is a huge plus and a really good improvement, but in my opinion, what really sets the new MagBox apart from the original is the ability to use the magnetic grid, because for me, as I mentioned earlier, and the way that I work, I love to use off-camera flash indoors, and therefore the grid is going to be awesome. So it's more a question of whether you want to be able to use the new grid or not, and that is going to depend on how much you want to shoot with the MagBox indoors, in my opinion. If you don't, then I probably wouldn't upgrade, but if you do, then I would seriously consider upgrading. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. It's a wrap.